We have Lawso running Super Mario Bros. 3 and Oglib commentating. You guys can count down whenever you want.
All right, we'll get started in 3, 2, 1, go. Hello, everybody. As he said, I'm Lawso42. This is Super Mario Bros. 3. We'll be doing the any % warpless category, which basically means we're just going to be going through all of the worlds. We're not going to be allowed to use warp whistles or wrong warps. And yeah, World 1 is probably one of the hardest stages, or hardest worlds in the run, because they're introducing a lot of like new mechanics in this game, and crap, that's awkward. Gonna take over for a second, Clip.
Yeah, so there's a lot of new things that they added on to Mario Bros. 3 that weren't shown. Like right here, you see a lot of slopes, you see enemies coming out of pipes, you see all these different things that the game introduces. So in order to do that in Mario 3's really small level size, they put a lot of stuff all in one. So it's very difficult to move through these levels really quickly because there's so much stuff you have to do. Yo, nice waffle jump.
Why did I do waffle jump?
I don't know why you did waffle jump. That's like what Lawso just did to jump over the waffle there. That's like I think like a 3-frame window, and if you get hit, you lose like $1 billion. So
yeah, and I just not even thinking.
Casually, yeah, just laying it down.
So yeah, you'll notice I did pick up the warp whistle there. We are allowed to collect them. We just obviously can't use them. And it's much faster to just fly up there and grab that warp whistle than it is to go through and beat the boom boom. And you notice at the start of 1.5 there, I took a hit, and that's 100% intentional. Unless we are flying, we never want to have the tail, because in general, Mario just moves slower. As soon as you jump, he loses forward momentum, and it also puts a cap on your P-speed. Oh, I messed that up.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a scary jump, but...
Yeah, it's a little bit of a blind jump. You kind of have to feel for it there. But yeah, to go back to what Lawso was saying, yeah, in general, if we're not flying, we don't want to have the tail, because when you're, small Mario, big Mario, Fire Mario, you can run basically indefinitely as long as, you're moving to the right correctly. Whereas you can lose it with the tail just after a timer. You just instantly lose P-speed. So for the most part, you'll see Lawso using Fire Mario or some different form of that in order to move through P-speed through every level.
Yeah, and there's actually a stage, I'll point it out later. In World 6, there's actually a stage that is very tight because of that window, like that internal timer the game runs when you start flying. Like, there's 2 back-to-back flights that you have to do on the same P-meter, and you have like a handful of frames to like actually make it through to the other side. Like, if you mess up at all, you normally just die.
Yeah, there's a couple of stages where you will see you'll see Lawso really pushing that barrier of how long you have P-speed to its limit in order to traverse through the stage as quickly as possible. So as we're going through the nice World 1 auto-scroller, every world, first 7 all ends with a nice airship. Not too much to do on those.
Yo, that was a pretty good fire kill.
Yeah, nice. So it takes 10 fireballs to kill any of the first 7. I think. Are you gonna go for Morton, or is it just?
I only do in Warpless. I only do World 1 and World 3.
Okay, yeah. So you'll see a couple here. Most of them in Warpless are kind of hard to deal with. The way that the Koopa Kid pattern works is the time it takes you to get from the last stage you finished into the fight determines the pattern, and it can be really difficult to determine which pattern you're going to get in Warpless because there's a lot more going on, whereas 100% it's a lot easier to figure out what pattern you'll be on. So you'll see a couple of these fire kills, but most of them will just be jumped on 3 times to kill him.
Yeah, like in Hundo, like we basically follow the exact same route in Hundo every single time. There's some minor differences due to Hammer Bros, like you want to fight Hammer Bros as soon as you can, and whatnot. I am very angry at my controller right now. but for the most part, like, you're always entering the fort from, or the castle from the same place, and with no Hammer Bros left on the map. Unlike in Warpless, where, you know, we're hopefully not going to fight all of the Hammer Bros in each world. So there's still going to be Hammer Bro movements, and that's going to throw off the timer. So losing fire there is kind of a big deal, but kind of not at the same time. It's only going to lose me like 6 seconds on this upcoming fort. And that's just the music box coming back. Don't anybody get excited. Because killing Boom Booms is faster with fire than it is jumping on them, much like everything in this game. And there are no fire flowers in World 2 until you get to the airship. So, yeah, I'm basically just going to be going through the rest of this world as Big Mario, hopefully.
Yeah, this is really the only spot where not having fire really loses you a lot of time.
It makes Hammer Bros kind of annoying, but you don't lose time because you have to wait for their boomerangs to like fly off the screen.
Yeah.
Alright, where's he going? Okay, that's fine. That Hammer Bro I actually want to avoid. That hammer,
I'll mention that. Yo, he's going for it.
Going for it. I'm gonna cause a lot of lag because I haven't practiced it in a while, so I'm doing the laggy strat.
That's fine.
But it looks cool.
Yo, nice. Okay, so what Lawso just did is he picked up that red shell and then carried it all the way to the end of the stage. Shells inherit the speed that Mario has, plus a little more, so that you never hit yourself with a shell. So by kicking that shell with P speed, it rockets through all of those blocks a lot.
We just got semi-early hammer.
Yo, okay, so I'll stop talking about that. So. This Hammer Bro right here usually starts all the way on the other side of the map, and it's very rare for him to walk all the way over here. So if you get this hammer now, Lawso's going to go down and use it on this block here and skip the sand and 2-5, go straight to the pyramid. This actually saves quite a lot of time. He'll lose some time in World 4 because he'll have to do an extra fortress that we normally skip, but overall getting the semi-early hammer actually saves probably 35 to 40 seconds, so this is pretty sick.
Also, shoutouts to Triggering Karua for calling it semi-early hammer.
You still have to go for third door.
I'm going for third door.
Okay.
Like, this will be my retirement run. I'll get third door and early hammer, and I'll just never have to play this category again.
Just cut. You're out of here. So yeah, this is a really quick world. I didn't even really have time to talk about Pyramid, which is a really hard stage. Lawso did it really well. Pyramid's an insanely technical stage. There's a lot of movement back and forth, and you have to kick the shells correctly to get through it quickly, but Lawso did it quite well. Yeah,
that is one thing about this run, like, with the exception of, like, the auto-scroller at the end of every world, there's a lot, it's really fast-paced, like, unlike, say, 100%, which, as a runner of it, is way better, because you don't have to worry about RNG pretty much at all.
Yeah.
But, like, there's a lot of downtime in that run. Warpless is, you get a break at the end of every world, but everything else is just, like, go crazy.
Yeah, there's no auto-scrollers other than the airships and then the ones in World 8. We skip by all the other ones either by just going around them or other means.
Yeah.
So every single stage that you play other than those airships is fast-paced, and you're constantly just going. So it's a really fun category, and it's a really great race category. But grinding it with all of the different luck involved can be a bit of a hassle at times. The game can be very, very cruel with the luck that it gives you at times.
So over under on like what are we betting that I get a runaway next world?
Oh, since you got semi-early hammer, it's like 95%.
Yeah.
You're never lucky, dude. So yeah, there's something interesting with World 3 is that there's bridges on the overworld map that they move up and down every single time Mario exits a stage. So optimally here, Lawso's going to clear 3-1, 3-2, 3-3, 3F1, and 3-4, and fight both Hammer Bros that are on the stage. If that all goes well, Lawso will be able to skip across a bridge over 3-6 to go all the way to 3-8 and skip most of the second half of the world. The things that could go wrong with that plan would be Lawso dying, which probably won't happen, hopefully, or or one of these Hammer Bros getting away, which you see that one is kind of close to the top right of the map. He, every once in a while, especially when you're on a good pace, he likes to just get out of the way. And if that happens, also we'll have to take a death, or yeah, I guess with semi-aerial hammer you have to take a death.
Yeah, you can't skip it.
You can't skip the hammer. That's gonna be way slower. So yeah, you have to kind of make some adjustments if he runs away.
The optimal strat, the optimal luck is Oh wow, I had to do a turn back there. That's weird because I skipped like 2 stages.
Oh yeah,
my cards are weird. I exited I never have to do a turn back there.
Because yeah.
And yeah. Actually, I guess that would be a good time to explain. I'm actually not terrible at getting 3 in a row. I mean, I'm terrible at a lot of things in this game, but getting 3 in a row is one thing. If you turn back at these cards, normally you will not get a star. The way they spawn, just the way they spawn, like if you run into them with full P speed and just jump into the corner of them, most of the time you'll get a star.
Yeah, and if you get 3 in a row, you get a nice little fanfare, and it counts up a couple extra lives for you to get. Yeah. And obviously, in a speed run, we don't need those lives, so we don't want that extra fanfare. So you'll see at some point in each set of 3, Lawso might do a little turn back, or sometimes you can actually get lucky and get a fire flower on a normal jump. It just happens sometimes. We're not really sure exactly why, but it just does.
Yeah, we don't need those fresh 5-ups.
No, here comes the 3rd door. Get ready. Oh, dang. Okay, so that looks like, oh, Lawso, you went into the wrong door. How can you not know how to get through this fortress? What are you doing? There's actually a 1-frame window where you can repress up.
There it is.
Go into that door. Yo, here it is. Yo, nice. 2nd try. Okay. So he just went back in the door and goes straight to Boom Boom's room. If you get it the first try, it saves about 6 seconds. But obviously, if you miss it, as you see, you gotta fall into the water and swim all the way back.
Oh, I hate my life.
And there's the runaway. He can still maybe come back.
Yeah, it was only a movement of 1.
You gotta believe.
It was only a movement of 1, so...
So he might...
Oh, no, he's gone.
Dang. Okay,
I'm gonna die here. I'm gonna die here. I think it's faster.
Yeah. So Lasso's gonna have to take a death here in order to get the bridges correctly. And if he dies here...
I swear if he comes back.
Yeah. Oh god. So he can get his power-ups back here in 3-4 and have Fire Flower. Having a Fire Flower for Wendy is a very, very nice and less stressful thing to have than having to jump on her. So we just gotta wait and see what this bro decides to do. I don't have your audio up, so I'm not listening.
No,
so I'm not sure.
I think he's gone. Like it was a movement of. There's a movement of 3 and then a movement of 2.
Okay, so he went down in between 3-8 and 3-9, and then must have walked to the right.
Yeah, he's between.
Yeah, and then he just walked back.
Yep.
So he will still fight the Star Bro,
which is fine. I actually do need to fight that bro since I'm doing the fort.
Yeah, that's true. So having it is not the worst thing in the world. Stars aren't like insanely important in the route in Warpless. We kind of use them just because we get them. But they can help a little bit with some levels.
Yeah, on a semi or like on a normal run, I wouldn't need it because I would just skip the fort. But it's way faster and easier to have a star at the start of that fort that I'm going to be doing. And in this world, I'm actually I'm also I'm keeping a close eye on my coin count. I haven't really had to adjust it at all. But there are, in worlds 1, 3, 5, and 6, page jump is literally free. Easy trick, dude. You literally never mess that up. But anyway, in worlds 1, 3, 5, and 6, if your coins are a multiple of 11, so if I had like 77 coins right now, and my score ended in a 70, one of the Hammer Bros remaining on the screen would turn into a coin ship. Which is really cool if you're playing this game casually. Like, there's like 4 1-ups worth of coins and an extra like 1 or 2 extra like hidden 1-ups in it. So like that's really cool if you're playing this casually, but it's a long, slow auto scroller. Like it scrolls at the same speed as the World 4 auto scroll or World 4 airship, which is the slowest scrolling auto-scroller in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it just wastes a ton of time. It's actually the fastest way to deal with them is to kill yourself on it, instead of going through the entire thing. So yeah, we just try to avoid it because they're very easy to avoid. Like you just avoid a multiple of 11 in your coins and you're good to go.
Yeah, every runner has multiple spots in the run where you can either adjust your coins if you need to, or adjust your score. A lot of times, like on the Hammer Bros, you'll hit an extra block or something to give yourself 10 points and get you away from that. Get you away from that coin ship danger.
I'm trying to figure out where I picked up a bunch of extra coins because I normally am sitting at like 40 something coins.
Oh, you have extra coins? I was gonna say you're probably behind on coins because of.
No, that's why I'm confused. Because like.
That is interesting. Yeah, normally, 62 is a really high World 3 count.
Yeah, no, like... Okay, that fight is a lot scarier than it looks.
Yeah, the Wendy... Any kill on Wendy is pretty scary. The fire kill is a bit easier. Luckily, it's on a completely flat plane there, so you can just kind of back up and shoot fireballs and keep kind of dodging her back. Having to jump on her gets really, really terrifying because she jumps really high. She also tosses out rings that just float around the entire fight. So it's a really, really... It's probably the most difficult Koopa Kid to fight. Yeah, with the jump kill. Whereas, luckily, she's one of the easier fire kills, so it kind of works out.
Yeah, and the other thing, like, what makes that scary is, like, I was able to, like, time my shots right, but if you mistime a shot, and it bounces low instead of like coming up and like hitting her in the face, it'll go right through her. Because all of the Koopa Kids, including Bowser himself, their hitbox is only their head. Yeah, they have like anything in this game. Koopa Kids have a very, very hitbox. Yeah, this game is very programmed. Yeah. Yeah, nice casual stroll through 4-1. I suck at the P-Speed strat, and it doesn't save actually enough time for me to care right now. Right, I legit spent like 4 hours one night trying to practice that.
Dang, dude. This world has 3 Hammer Bros in it. One of them, Lawso is gonna want to fight the cloud that's close to him. The other 2, one is a P-Wing and the other is a star. He might want to fight the P-Wing here. He doesn't need the star. And it'll kind of depend on how they're set up as to how he tackles it. There's another P-Wing and star at the beginning of World 5, and generally between those 4 you want 1 P-Wing. So you kind of try to put yourself in a situation to get that 1 P-Wing, like the best chance you have to get just the 1 P-Wing. So moving into 4-3, this is my favorite stage. I think a lot of runners' favorite stages. There's a lot of interesting little tricks and tech you get to do, and there's a lot of things flying around that look impressive that you're dodging, but are actually pretty straightforward. Nice crouch jump there, and then a nice long jump. It's a good stage.
It looks really cool when you do it right.
Yeah, that was when I was learning this game. When I pulled off that level for the first time, I knew I was in love, because this game is like that. It's such a fun level to play every single time you play it.
Alright, and I'm going top route. Okay.
Yeah. So now Lasso's entering this fort. This is the one he has to do in just about every other run.
Okay, just kidding.
Oh, dang.
I took a hit. I don't really want to go through that section.
That's fair. So
I missed a jump, and I lost my star like frames before I hit that.
Right, yeah, I saw that like right as you were losing it.
It sucks because that last jump is like my favorite thing in the game to do, where you like duck jump in between the thwomp and the wall. Yeah.
So normally you wouldn't see this stage in a Warpless run, but because of the early hammer, we're not going to use a hammer to skip over this one, because the other hammer the second hammer we use in the run in World 6 saves a lot more time than just that fortress. So now Lasso's kind of caught up in terms of luck.
Messed that up completely.
Oop. Yeah. You can bounce off of that Lakitu and go over the top part to skip a little bit of this water stage, but you have to.
Fire anyway.
Yeah, getting the fire is like that ends up okay. You got to be very precise with how you kind of manipulate them to get the bounce to work.
I've never actually timed it, but like just going off of like what my splits look like when I miss that versus when I get it, it's like a 5 or 6 second time loss.
Yeah, I would say it's somewhere around there, just because you have to go all the way down. That's really the only big time loss. It's just the big drop you have to do.
Yeah. Luckily I didn't get sniped. There's actually 2 Lakitus at the end of that stage. Alright, let's see. I'm just gonna fight him.
Yeah, that setup right there, since Lawso will be going over to 4-6, there is a possibility that that other bro could walk up and run into him, and he'd have to fight him anyways. So, in this situation, that was a good movement there for him to walk into you, so now they're out of the way.
Yeah.
So now he'll use a music box in the beginning of World 5 to skip the 2 bros on the bottom of that world.
Are you kidding me? Controller, please. Like, I keep dropping jump inputs.
Dang.
It's fine. We can do the Let's Play star and get through it. World 4 is, like, as much as I loved it as a kid, it's easily my least favorite in the speedrun.
There's a lot of things that can go wrong in World 4.
Yeah, and, like, none of the stages sans 4-3 are actually fun to do.
Yeah, a lot of the stages are just kind of there.
Yeah.
And they've got some very difficult, but they've still got some very difficult tech to pull off. Yeah, World 4 is... It's alright. The ending of World 4, unfortunately, as we're about to see,
Yeah,
is very, very awful. If you've got time to read a book or make a sandwich,
yeah,
or,
like,
you know, anything like that, we've got a nice 2 minutes of a blazing 16 pixels per second of this auto-scroller.
Yeah, I don't know about you, I think I'm going to take a selfie, post it to Twitter.
Yeah, I might get a nap in real quick. It's been a long day.
I mean, I guess this would be a good time to kind of just explain the auto-scrollers in this game in general. There is actually no RNG on, like, the airships and whatnot. With the exception of Koopa Kids, but that's still not actually random. We can know the pattern if we know how long it's been since we ended the last stage till we enter the fight. But all of the flames and the cannonballs shoot at just timed intervals, depending on, like, based on when you entered the level. And the bullet bills fire depending on how close Mario is to them. So if you do the same thing every single time through these auto-scrollers, you'll get the exact same result. Like, things will shoot at the same times, things will, like, not be there when you don't need them. With the exception of this guy, I still don't know why this guy, like, some runs this guy spawns immediately like he just did. Some days, like, he just doesn't spawn until, like, he's basically off the screen.
The fire at the bottom of that part too, I think it's something to do with the sprite limit.
Yeah, I think.
And there's a spinner that you saw Lawso jump across. I think depending on its position can really mess with how the stuff there spawns. It's just there's so many things right in that spot.
Yeah, I think the spinner for sure despawns that one flame because there's a flame down there that doesn't fire.
Yeah.
If you ride the spinner across. But yeah, I have no idea about that wrench thrower. Like he's a mystery.
It's an interesting thing because there's definitely been times where he just doesn't show up until you're like halfway past him.
Yeah, I mean I've had him never even throw, like he spawned so late he didn't even throw a wrench because he was off screen before he could throw a wrench.
Nice.
All right, another Koopa Kid. This one can actually be kind of a pain because he jumps so high. And due to, like, when Mario is coming down and an enemy is coming up that he can bounce off of, sometimes their hitboxes can kind of, like, clip into each other, and you'll miss the part of the game will miss the hitbox of you hitting them, and just be like, oh, you're in his sprite, you got hit by him, it sucks to be you, and you'll just take damage for no reason.
Yeah, a lot of the enemies that jump quickly will do that.
Cheeps are like that a lot as well. Like luckily it didn't happen to me in 3-2, but it happens in 3-2 a lot because you're bouncing on cheeps. Alright, into World 5. As Glib said, since I fought the bros in World 4, I'm going to be using a music box to skip these bros on the ground because I don't really need to fight them at this point. I already have the P-Wing I need from them. And the other one has a star, which I don't really need. But by using that music box, I will have to fight the Sky Bro, which isn't that big of a deal, and a lot of times he'll just block your path anyway.
Yeah, a lot of times you don't really get an option to even skip that guy, so might as well use one here.
Yeah.
Saves time overall.
5-2, not a terribly difficult stage, but kind of a scary one. If you fall down there, you just lose like a year and a half.
Yeah, you fall down for a very, very long time, and then you go through a section, like, it's one of the worst sections in the entire game. There's just spikes throwing ice blocks at you everywhere. It's really, really awful to go down there. So, yeah, avoiding the pit of despair, as it's called, is a very nice thing.
Yeah, I remember when I first started, I legitimately gave up fire to grab a tail in 5-1, just so I didn't fall in the pit
just
of
to
despair.
not fall. Yeah, it's not something you want to do for sure.
Ooh, that was scary. I lost P-speed for some reason there.
Oh, I think you caught the corner a little bit.
Probably. That is my personal favorite stage in the game. It's very close with 4-3, but when you do it right, much like 4-3, all the cycles kind of line up, and like you kind of just like go through all of the waffles and whatnot, and it just looks super dope. Alright, this is another one of the most technical stages in the game. The Sunday sequence break.
Yo, alright, so Lawso,
and then I hit a corner pixel. It almost died.
Lawso just entered into a pipe backwards, which actually I think it's a single pixel or a sub-pixel.
It's a single pixel if you are, it's the same as a wall jump.
Oh, that's right, yeah. So it's a single pixel if you're small Mario. If you're big Mario or anything else, it's actually it's like 50-50 sub-pixel dependent. Where if you hit that backwards, you can just go into the pipe. And it actually, I think in the tower, it doesn't save much time.
I don't think it saves. Cool. I don't think it saves time at all in the tower.
It might not, just depending on.
It might be frames.
It's weird.
It might be frames if it saves any time at all. I know it's not slower, but
yeah, it looks dope though.
Yeah, it looks awesome, so I go for it.
So now we're into the sky, and a lot of the levels up here are not exactly the most difficult, but they're very, very punishing. So any mistakes here, since most of these stages are open, or up in the sky, you'll fall down and you'll die. So it's very important here not to make a lot of mistakes, just so that you don't take a massive time loss from a death. Although none of the stages are really like overly difficult to where that's super common if you're comfortable enough with the stages.
Yeah, like Glib said, none of these are really difficult, but yeah, it is very punishing. And those hammer bros on the bottom keep switching. You can't like move. You don't regain control of Mario until after like all the bros on the screen or like in the world have stopped moving. World 5 isn't too bad, because they can never actually get on top of one another, and do what we call a marathon, and those suck. You'll probably see one next world. But they can still swap, and it costs a fair amount of time.
Yeah, every movement is about half of a second. So if you get, most times you'll see. No, don't go for it. There's a clip
I hit
the
corner pixel. I almost died on the pipe.
There's a clip you can do in the very top corner of that fortress that it clips you through, and it skips this room. Unfortunately, it's a very, very, very long clip, so it only saves you about 6 seconds. And if you miss it, you die and lose 1 billion. So nobody really goes for it unless they want to purposely kill the run.
Also, that bounce off of the dry bones was totally dope, and I totally meant to do that.
That looked intended. I wasn't even going to mention it because I thought, you know what, he definitely wanted to do that. Yeah, it loses an actual. We've counted it. We frame counted it. It's actually 1 billion seconds.
Another really cool looking stage when done.
Yeah,
correctly.
5/8's a fun little stage. It's a little tough to get that P speed, but then once you get it, the rest.
Although,
of the
reminder, Nintendo Power said it must be true. It is impossible to get P speed on that stage.
Impossible.
Because you have to have the power up at the very beginning of it. Also, shout outs to the jumping Fire Flower Mario the throne room. You have a couple frames at the start of each one of these cutscenes to do an action, basically. And you can jump or shoot is about the only thing that I've been able to, that I think we've figured out that you can do. I don't think it's possible to, like, duck.
Yeah, you can't crouch, unfortunately, which is something I've always wanted to do, but you can't do it. I think you can tail whip.
Yeah, I think you can tail whip as
come
well.
In with if you come in with any sort of tail.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Can you
and
throw
I
a
do want to
hammer?
mention, Lawso used a cloud there to skip over 5-9, which is the worst level in the game.
Objectively the worst stage in the game.
Objectively worst stage. It's just it's an auto scroller that just kind of scrolls up and to the right, and it's just dumb. And auto scrollers suck, so we skipped them in this category.
Yeah, it's not fun.
No, it's not a fun stage.
So coming up here is another kind of scary fight. Roy is one of 2 Koopa kids that will kind of slam the ground when he jumps. Like, you know, he's been hitting the gym. He's been working on those gains. And if you're on the ground when he lands, Mario will get stunned. And in fights like this, a lot of times 1 hit becomes 2, which means, like, eventually turns into your death. So you just kind of want to avoid him at all costs.
Yeah, Roy will just kind of like hang out right next to you while you're stunned, and then hit you again, so you're still stunned. And there's been times where you just can't do anything. You have no options.
It's any time he jumps, like not just after you hit him, like
any jump.
So
will
like
do
if
that,
he stuns you, he'll jump, like he'll stand right on top of you, jump and stun the ground again, and then he'll hit you again, and then you're just like, okay, this is my life. Like, I guess I'm chasing an airship now.
So here's the second hammer of the game, which skips over 6-1, 6-2, and 6-3. And this hammer bro feels pretty bad that we're out of hammers, so he decides to give us another one. And that one will be used later on in this world as well.
And one thing I guess I didn't mention about getting the whistle in the fort, I have to be very careful with my menuing. Because by getting that whistle when we do, it's the first item in our inventory the entire game. So anytime I menu, I have to be very careful not to accidentally use it. Otherwise, bad things happen.
Yeah, it's always ready to kill your run. And another thing that kind of sucks about it is you basically start every level pressing B. So if you miss time entering the stage, like I've seen this happen to a lot of people, myself included, you'll press A to enter the stage, and you won't go in because you're not quite on top of it. So you press B, opens your menu, and then you think, oh crap, I gotta press A. Well, you're over top of your whistle, and you've just killed your run. So yeah, it's just something you gotta really make sure when you start up that menu that you're not doing anything to just immediately kill your run. It's one of the hazards. Oh.
I should have known better. I knew as soon as I messed up that first jump, I should have taken it safe. Whatever.
6-4, not the worst stage to die in, honestly.
No.
You're gonna go small into the stage anyways, so not like you're losing power-ups later on.
That's what it's supposed to look like. And again, I want to be watching my coin count here in World 6 as well. This is the last world that we can get coin ships in, so... Alright, we're gonna hope that this is the cloud. I don't think it was. I wasn't actually paying attention.
I think that might have been this. You had a long movement after the fort, so I'm not sure.
It was. They might have marathon. I don't know. I was.
Yeah, they might have. Okay, so yeah. There's a cloud and a star. Obviously, we don't want the star. We want the cloud. Sometimes you can track them. Sometimes you don't really have an option.
Yeah, if they ever like marathon, which is they walk onto the same square at the same time, like you just don't know which one's which at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
so Lawso used the P-wing there. Yeah, go ahead.
Here's an interesting little glitch. By grabbing that, by grabbing that ice block, the game like treats ice blocks really weird in this game. They are a background piece until you actually pick them up, and then they become a live sprite, which can cause a lot of lag in a lot of sections. And we can use that lag to our benefit to despawn one of the little biter enemies up there at the top.
Here's the fort Lawso was mentioning early on in the run, where these first 2 flights you have just enough P meter there, you see, to get over them.
You saw how I kind of like, as soon as my feet were over that, like over the floor there, I lost P-speed.
Yeah,
So,
your movement has to be very precise in the opening of that to make sure you get both of those.
Yeah, if you mess that section up at all, like it's the worst thing ever, because Mario will like, he'll try everything in his power to make it up that slope, and just he won't get there.
He just can't get there. So now we're pretty much done with the tail, so gonna take a hit here. Build P-speed, jump the big H. Yo, are you gonna go for it?
I mistimed that jump. Why not?
Alright.
This run's terrible, so.
So, now Lawso's gonna try something here in 6-9, which is pretty fun. Normally we'll use a P-wing to fly over the top of it, but you can also do a little something else to get over to the top of this stage.
If I can hit the pixel.
And he's trying to hit a very specific pixel and do a 1-frame jump, and there we go, we're over top.
Yeah, that
We
is
actually got the camera to move up too. I like never get that to happen.
Yeah, you have to
just
like
kinda
you have
blind
to
it.
get P-speed. If you ever get P-speed and jump there,
Oh,
you'll get enough
okay.
height.
So now moving through 6F3.
All of the forts in this world are actually kind of difficult. Like,
Yeah, the actual stages of World 6 normally aren't too bad. There's a couple little things, but it's really the forts is
Yeah.
where the difficulty of
although,
this.
and I guess we didn't mention it. Like, we were kind of busy on other things in the first fort. But the first fort in this world, as you guys saw, like that's the only time in the game that you can star kill a boom boom.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, for whatever reason, the game freaks out and like the orb that it drops, like gets flipped upside down and spawns in the middle.
Yeah, the game at least spawns an orb, but it's a little weird.
Yeah, I'm still curious if that is was a programmed occurrence or if it was just like the game the game just didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
What happened. I feel like I feel like it was probably a failsafe or something like that.
Yeah, there is another way that I've seen it spawn before, and that's with underflowing the Boom Boom's HP.
Oh no! Kidding. I even failed it, but whatever. Let's see if I can.
No wall jump.
No wall jump. You can't even get up there anyway with the wall jump. I've tried.
Yeah, there's a little platform there that you can jump down to, and Mario disappears off screen. It looks like he dies.
Yeah.
It's a fun little thing. You try to find ways to amuse yourself. If Lawso was big going in here, he actually could have clipped the corner there and walked across the top of that.
And just
it's
like,
a nice little, like,
I could like
15
set my
seconds,
controller down for like 15-20 seconds and just not have to worry about a thing. Dude, what is it with corner clips today?
Dude, you hit a bunch. So here's Lemmy, the best Koopa kid.
Yo, the run has been blessed. We got Lemmy shakes.
Yo, okay, yeah. So okay, sometimes Lemmy just shakes for no reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, he's.
I claim that's good luck. Lemmy's
Yeah.
blessing the run with the shakes.
Oh. Yeah, I have no idea why it happens, but yeah, he just looks really weird and just like spazzes out. I don't know. Maybe we should call him a doctor. Like.
So coming up on probably one of the most well-known tricks of the game, the 7-1 clip.
The 2 worst stages on the run. Yo, that is like my 3rd frame perfect princess letter. You didn't even see what item I got.
I don't even know what you got. I really don't.
I think it's a P-wing. Second
Is
try.
it a P-wing?
I'll take second try.
Yeah, second try is not bad.
Is that just cheese? If first try is mac and cheese, is that just the cheese? Cause
no, it's nothing. There's nothing.
This
mac
fresh
and cheese and nothing.
5 Up has been brought to you by Speedrun to change the world.
There you go.
So yeah, that's what I've been trying to avoid the entire game, but I'm not able to get P-speed there, so it's kind of awkward.
You're kind of up to luck there. 7-2, another very technical stage here. Very precise movement to build your P-speed, and then use the star there to kill that guy, and then
I hate my life.
He's hoping to land. He's hoping to land on that pipe and jump all the way over this gap, skipping this little section here where you gotta hit the music note blocks. It's a really tough stage.
I hate this stage so much. I should have just used my extra P-wing here.
Oh, that's right. You do have one. Yeah, it's a tough one to do. Every runner messes it up still. Like it's not a surefire thing ever.
And getting hit there isn't the worst thing in the world. The next stage is actually easier small, so...
Yeah, the next stage doesn't matter what power up you have, and then he'll use a P-wing coming up.
And that's the other problem with messing up 7-2 is like if you don't come into that last section with P speed, like you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, with all the piranha plants everywhere, if you have P speed, you can usually get past them.
Yeah, you normally
before they can really do much.
Yeah,
but
you normally
without P speed.
You normally just like jump over most of them, and then like there's one that you might take a damage boost on depending on whether or not he spawns.
Yeah.
And we still don't know exactly what causes him to spawn. Like,
yeah, I thought I had something for a while, but then it turned out not to be right. I don't know if anybody's really said this is exactly what you do. There's a few enemies like that in the game where we're not exactly sure, you know, exactly what you have to do in order to spawn them or not spawn them. You kind of just have to hope for the best. But that enemy there is one that it really doesn't matter in the long run. You don't lose a lot if you do take damage to him.
So we skipped 7-4, which is underwater auto stroller, so pretty terrible. Not as bad as 5-9, but still pretty terrible.
It's a pretty bad stage.
And now we're kind of into another puzzle level. There's a hidden Tanuki suit in this world, in this fortress, that you're supposed to find and use it to fly up to this pipe that you're supposed to try to figure out where it is. And you only have 200 seconds in that stage, unlike the 300 you have in every other stage. So, like, you are kind of crunching, like, on a clock, as it were. But yeah, we know exactly where it's at, so we just use a P-wing to get up there fast. And then we use another P-wing here to skip this stage. We can just fly right over it.
Yeah, 7-6 is another trivial stage. It's kind of interesting. You have some very difficult stages, and then a lot of trivial stuff, and then a lot of difficult stuff at the end of World 7.
I never fought an extra star.
Oh, that's right. You only had, yeah. So normally you'd use a star in this stage for this first part. So Lawso's got to take it a little safer right here. Otherwise, yeah, I was pretty much back on track. This is probably, this and 6F2 are the two stages where you really get to show off your tech with a tail. Some precise movement to get through it.
Yeah.
And that guy decided not to shoot. That one nipper in the middle is the only one in the game that shoots fire, and they don't tell you anything about it until he shoots, but it's completely random when he does. So now entering into 7-9,
and
which
because
is another.
I don't want to break rule 2.
Yeah, another fun stage where you can clip across the bottom. These clips are actually a bit easier than the 7-1 clip, because when you have P speed, your subpixels will always line up so that if you hit the correct pixel, you'll go through. The 7-1 clip kind of depends a bit on your subpixels. You can hit the pixel correctly, but then not go through just because you have bad luck. But these ones, if you do it correctly, you'll always get the clip, so it's a bit easier to get these.
And now I'm stuck, so I have to get this one.
Yeah, the first and third ones actually get you stuck in the middle of somewhere. So yeah, since he's got the third one, he's got to get this fourth one to get out of the stage, otherwise he can't go anywhere.
I believe in you, buddy. There you go. That was not bad, and I'll just jump right over the pipe, because why not?
Pipes are hard, dude.
Pipes
yeah,
are
that was,
impossible.
Other than the fourth one, that was not too bad. You generally want to.
It took me like 5 tries to get to the fourth one, and then the fourth one was just impossible. Yeah,
if you get it at about 8 to 10, it's a decent or about the same as doing the stage normally. So skipping over 7F2, which is a bit shorter than 7-9, but it's a very difficult stage. And normally with the route, you would cloud over 7-9 to do 7F2. So dying there loses another billion seconds. So
yeah. And we didn't actually mention in World 3, like the first rule of Warpless is don't die in 3-8.
That was the first cloud.
That's the first stage that we did right after skipping an auto stroller.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a boss bass there, so that kills you in one shot. So Good luck. And so if that's rule number 1, rule number 2 is don't die in 742.
Yeah.
Like World 7 is actually where routes kind of like can branch off for like top tier runners.
Yeah.
Some people choose to get the hammer suit in 7-8. And then some runners, a lot of, like, most runners will choose to do the, skip 7-9 and then do 7-4-2. And then they'll have to do the fort in World 8. The actual most optimal route is to do 7-9, do the 7-9 clips, do 7-4-2, and then skip, the fort in World 8. It is the most optimal, but it's also the most risky, because the fort in World 8 is the last fire flower you can get in the entire game. And there's only, what, 2 fire flowers before it?
There's one in the third hand and one in 8-1.
Yeah, and obviously you don't want to be able to get the one in the third hand because you don't want to have to play the third hand.
Yeah.
So, I believe Karua is the only person I know that's doing that route right now.
I think Chuck has started to switch to it.
Has Chuck started? Okay.
And I don't know what Cujo's route is currently. He might be.
I haven't seen him get to World 7.
Yeah, Cujo, I think I've seen him get to World 7 once.
Yeah.
Since he's been back. He's just getting back into the swing of things.
But yeah, the boat and
Oh yeah, the boat
third
also.
hand.
So there's 3. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's why I meant 2 other than the one
third
in the
hand.
fort.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, welcome to World 8, otherwise known as all of the auto-scrollers.
Getting a nice stretch.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with how exciting this category, at least the beginning of it, can be a bit of a drag. You get 3 auto-scrollers in a row from World 7, so you basically have, I think it's like 6 minutes of auto-scrolling, give or take.
I mean, in all honesty, you're hoping for 4 auto-scrollers in a row, so...
Yeah, yeah.
So coming up after... I need to stop throwing fireballs here. I'm causing lag. I get bored, so I throw fireballs.
It's like the one thing you can do to lose time in these things is cause lag. And
you'll actually see me do a strat here in a little bit to reduce the lag, because this auto-scroller is actually incredibly laggy with all of the bob-ombs it throws. It just causes a ton of lag because of all the sprites on the screen. But yeah, as I was saying, and what we were kind of alluding to before, coming up after these 2 auto-strollers, there's 3 optional levels. And we don't get to choose, well, we can still enter them, but it's not up to us whether they're optional in this category. Each one of them is an individual 50-50 chance of getting grabbed and being forced to play the level. We call them the hands because, like, a hand comes up and drags you into the auto-scroller and it sucks and you lose, like, 20 seconds per auto-scroller, per hand.
Yeah, it's a big source of chaos in the run.
Alright, you saw me right there killing those bob-ombs. That's just to reduce the lag. If you don't do that, like, it's a massive amount of lag, like, just due to, like, both cannons shooting off bob-ombs, and then there's another one right there on the other side of the screen that shoots them.
Yeah, and you also get the Rocky Wrench throwing stuff in. They put as many sprites as they possibly can in that little section, so it slows down quite significantly.
Never lucky.
Yeah, there's a chance there if that boomerang bro walks forward and hangs onto his boomerang for a little bit, you can shoot him and kill him before he tosses it.
He almost gave it to me backing up. Like, that's the closest I've ever seen a...
Yeah, I think anytime you back up, it's impossible. Because I think he threw it as late as possible, but
yeah, no, that was like he threw it as the fireball was connecting.
Yeah,
basically.
So if that does happen, since everything else has to be off screen, the boomerang and the bro, before the star box will spawn. If he doesn't throw the boomerang, I think it saves about 2 to 2.5 seconds, but it's completely luck-based. There's nothing you can do about it. And as long as you shoot the fireball as soon as you drop in.
Yeah, you just mash shoot as you're going down the pipe and hope for the best.
Mm-hmm. Yo, what's up, brother?
What's up?
So, speaking of hands, we've got a $155 donation from Mr. Cab.
Yo.
Let's go, Lasso. I'll be here in case you need a hand.
Mr. Cab, I'm gonna have to ask you to look away for like the next, I don't know, 2 minutes or so.
Oh, well, he says hi, by the way. He told me to tell you he says hi. Yeah, let's get some good boat swag.
That's pretty deep.
That's pretty good boat swag. This is a totally legit thing that prevents you from getting hands. It's not something that we made up.
I mean, I have irrefutable proof on my channel. Go check the. I can give you guys the highlight that if you turn the auto scroller off and you do boat swag for 1.5 minutes, you'll get no hands. That one time I did it.
It's true. It's true.
All right, these are the hands. Thank you, Mr. Cab.
So Mr. Cab's watching, so anytime Mr. Cab watches an SMB3 run, you get the first hand. That and like this first hand seems to be like 95%. Like it's honestly crazy how often this one happens. And this is the second slowest one. Yo, nice. 2 for 2.
Are we gonna get the reverse?
The reverse 1 and 8.
Yeah.
The second hand is the shortest one, so if you are gonna get stuck with one, it's hopefully this one, but it still loses quite a bit of time over, you know, obviously not having to do it.
Yup.
Yo, nice 1 and 8.
The wrong 1 and 8. And this is like the worst one for me because I don't know what I'm doing. I hit a wall jump pixel though.
Yo, nice. Yeah, so this one, there is a P-speed strat through it. It's a little tricky, but it can make it slightly shorter than the first hand if you can get through it. So nice early, semi-early hammer runaway all 3 hands run.
Right?
Crazy. So now he's moving on to the fastest auto scroller in the game, the Air Force. This one is definitely, I think most people casually said that this is one of the hardest stages that they ever did, and it's pretty tricky in a speedrun also.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not
trivial,
easy.
But like
Yeah.
if you have a power up, it's like it's not that hard. Like any power up at all, tail or
Fire Mario, yeah.
Like you really
or hammer, yeah.
Hammer's actually awkward because of the way that.
Is it weird? I guess I've never done this with a hammer, but you can still kill the rocket wrenches though, right?
Yeah, but like you just have to be really good with your hammer placement.
With how you're throwing it, yeah.
I see most people that do the hammer strats, so Mitch and Pooh, they jump kill all of the rocky wrenches.
Yeah, that's really the important part of this stage is staying on top of those rocky wrenches because they're timed just so right so that they'll throw 2 wrenches if they're not dead.
Yeah.
So that's when it really gets scary is when you have wrenches coming from both, basically from behind you and ahead of you as well as those guys popping up.
Yeah.
But if you stay on top of those guys, it's usually not too bad.
Yeah, and that's why having like Fire Flower or a tail makes it really easy
nice.
just to dispatch them and you don't have to worry about it. But yeah, I know a lot of people that still P-wing that like in speedruns just because...
Yeah, there's quite a few people that still do it just because they don't want to deal with that stage.
I need to stop despawning that guy.
Oh, dang.
I didn't die, and like I had P-speed most of it, but like, so what I did there was I caused both of those bullet bill shooters to shoot. Like it was just a movement error on my part. And by doing that, it despawns a Koopa, and I normally bounce off that Koopa to like go further in the level.
To get up, yeah.
And when you're going at P speed in a stage like, okay.
Oh, what? You got like the mini bounce there.
Thinking face emoji.
Yeah, that was weird. Well, at least you've got
I've got a billion tails and a P-wing still.
And a P. I was like thinking like, should he use the P-wing there? I think maybe you should have.
Maybe, I don't know.
Optimally, but whatever. Yeah,
This
8-1 and 8-2 are both really.
Optimal went out the window at the runaway.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's World 8 is just a really world.
Yeah, you have like a lot of auto scrollers, which is boring. You have a massive chunk of luck, and then you have some really tough stages.
Yeah,
and
you
then
have
you
like
have more auto scrolling.
Two of the hardest stages like to do fast. Like I didn't grab the Fire Flower. I am a monkey.
Oh yeah, I wasn't even. I couldn't tell because you were with the star, so I wasn't even thinking.
I got here with like all of my star left, and I'm like, that's not right.
It's fine. It's comedy run.
Yeah, no. Is this gonna be a casual 57?
You're on pace, dude.
All right, we got one cycle.
Hot casual 57. Yeah, so you can, if you move well enough, you can get through there with that first P-switch and not have to go hit the second one.
All right, and as I said before, this is the last Fire Flower in the game. My current pace is actually 56:20, so we'll have to botch something so I can get that casual 57.
Well, you got 3 hands.
Yeah.
I don't think your current pace is taking that. Like, it's usually about 2.5 minutes after you're done with the port.
Fair.
So
That's fair.
yeah.
But yeah, it's very important that I keep this Fire Flower, as it is the last Fire Flower before Bowser. There's none on this auto-scroller, and there are none in Bowser's Castle. So we're gonna hope this isn't a Cujo scroller.
I mean, it wouldn't be if you did the world-famous patented Day 1 affiliate Oglib Super Tank Strat TM.
Copyright Oglib.
Which is where you just hold right and you mash fireballs and then jump when it looks like you need to jump. This is the easiest. This is by far the easiest of any stage in this entire game because you don't have to think. You do literally nothing for a minute and a half except hold right, press B, and jump anytime something's in your way. But I have seen world record pace runs lost on this stage. No, the patent's not pending, Mr. Cap. It's already... patent's approved. And now one last boom boom, and we'll move into Bowser's Castle.
Yo, we just saved like 2 seconds.
Yo,
I
nice.
think
Yeah, that
it's 2
clip
seconds.
saves 1.5 seconds if you get it, and loses 2.5 if you miss it.
The most electrifying clip in sports entertainment. The People's Clip. And we're doing this. Shoutouts to this clip that loses like a significant amount of time. But
Yeah, I think that
looks
clip
cool.
that clip loses like 6 seconds. I don't know why you go for it every time. You might botch your... No, you'll still be alright at the casual 57, I think. As long as you get the fire kill. It'll take 35 fireballs to kill Bowser here.
And reminder that Bowser's hitbox is still active.
Yeah, you can still get hit by him as he's dying.
So
for
time is going to be when
whatever
I
reason.
enter this door. They actually shoved me out of the way. Like I wasn't even holding the D-pad. Like he actually pushes you out of the way. And time.
Yo, congrats on the casual 57.
That was a nice casual 57 with the early hammer runaway triple hand.
That was
Yeah.
Thank you for such a showcase.
That is Warpless in a nutshell.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sounds like a pretty good speedrun.
Yeah, I've got your... Because I can see your splits here on the restream, or on your restream thing.
Yeah, I went from minus
looks like a normal,
50.
Looks like a normal Warpless
I went
run.
from minus 50 to plus 30 in like 2 worlds.
Well,
but yeah,
good stuff, dude.
thank you for having me.
You doubled our